Good morning, mathematicians, and we are back with two-digit subtraction using two-digit numbers. And we are going to do a review of the last 2 days, our day on base 10 and our day on number lines. And this lesson comes in our workbook. Now, if you are in my class or other classes, you may have used this rarely, if at all. But this is what it looks like. It can get a little wordy, and that's why often we take the lessons out of it and still teach them, but not with the actual book. So if you need to pause the video and go get your book, it's pretty thick, and it looks like this. So once you have your book, come on back and start the video again. So I'm going to share my screen with my copies from the book. There we go. So these are copies from the student version. I'm running out a little ink up here. But these are on pages 70 to 77. So just find page 70. Write down, you see it down here, page 70, 70, 7 10s, 71s if you were using just ones. So page 70. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to write it really big up here too so that you can make sure we're on the same pages since it doesn't show at the bottom as much. All right, so we are going to use what we know because you've been doing such a great job for the last 2 days. So here's a word problem. Let's read it together. There are 34 art projects in a contest. There are 9 paintings. The rest are drawings. How many art projects are drawings? Maybe they're in the reflections PTA art contest. So they're going to break it down here. How many 10s and 1s are in 34? 34, the original. I'm going to draw a part whole box like I did when we were working in our journals. You may want to draw this also. So there are 34, that's the total. 34. And then there are 9 paintings, which is one part, and we are looking for this other part right here. So what would our equation be? Well, of course, it's going to depend on how we are doing it, how we are going to solve it. So let's find out. All right, so how many 10s and 1s are in 34? Well, we have the picture right over here. So I'm going to draw an arrow. Here it is. All right, so how many 10s do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 3 10s, and 4 1s in 34. So for B, solve 34 minus 9 to find the number of drawings. All right, so they're saying we are going to solve it with 34 minus 9 equals the unknown. So we are going to be taking away. All right, so how many 1s do you need to subtract? Well, we're taking away 9 1s, aren't we? So 9 1s, but how many do we have? We only have 4. So what are we going to do? Let's find out. You may remember the word. Starts with an R. All right, so how many 1s do you need to subtract? You need 9. Are there enough 1s in 34 to subtract? We just answered that. No, there are not. It says explain. So basically it means, simply there are only 4 1s in 34. 9 is, I'm going to say greater than, to use our symbols. I'm going to write it out in words. 4. So you will write something like this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. But you need 9 and there are only 4 is basically it. So look at the model on the right. Here we go. How many tens blocks are there? Well, is this the same as this? It looks different. So let's see, how many tens blocks are there? 1, 2. There are 2 tens blocks. How many were there up here? 3. How many ones blocks are there? There are a lot more, aren't there? There were only 4 up here, like we were talking about before, but now there are more. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because why? Because this 10 has become 10 ones. So now there are 10 ones plus 4 ones, which equal 14 ones. Great. Now take away the 9 ones. Can we do it? Yes, we can. So we're going to go, it might be easier just to look at the 10 and go, okay, I know 10 is 9 plus 1. So I'm just going to take 9 of those away and leave the 1. And then we have the 4. So how many 10s and 1s are left? Well, we didn't need to take any 10s away, so we still have 2 10s. And now we have 4 plus 1, 5 ones. So how many art projects or drawings? 25. 2 10s, 5 ones. There we go. Now, these visuals really help you see it to practice your skills with base 10. And the explaining is very important because if you can explain it, then you actually know what's going on. Otherwise, you're just kind of filling in answers and following a pattern. Patterns are great in math, but you have to understand why you're doing them. Okay, so we're going to go to the next page, which is page 71. I'm going to write it up there, 71, so you can see which one we're on. All right, so find out more. Here are 2 ways to find 34 minus 9, which we just did on the other page. This is a what? It's a number line. Now, number lines can be done different ways, as we saw yesterday, and they are going to explain that here as well. So on this particular number line, it says to go to the next 10. Well, and we did that yesterday. You're going to go to the next 10, which is 10. You were starting at 9, the lower number, to count up. So the equation actually here would be 9 plus what equals 34. That was my dog waking up. So 9 plus blank equals 34. So if you go up to the next 10, you are going to add 1. And then to add to get to 30, you're at the 10. You can count up by 10s to that. So we're 10, 20, 30, 2 10s. So 20. 10 plus 20 equals 30. Add to get to 34. It takes 4 to get to 34. But then you have to total the jumps like we talked about yesterday. Because 34 is not the answer. We already have 34. So we total them up. And we have 1 plus 20 plus 4, which is 25 once again. And so 9 plus 25 equals 34, just like our equation. So 34 minus 9 equals 25. There we go. 25 again. Check. You could also subtract to make a 10. So you could go backwards like we did for our second strategy yesterday. So 34 minus 4 equals 30. We went to the next number with ends in a 5 or a 0. Then 30 minus 5 equals 25 because 5 and 4 is a total of 9. So 34 minus 9 once again equals 25. So reflecting on what you have just learned, how can you subtract 8 from 46? So a whole different problem. 8 from 46. And you're going to pick one way, and then you are going to write down how you would do that. So you can go ahead and pause the video and write how you would subtract 8 from 46. Would you count up? Or would you count back? And what method would you use? Number line, base 10 blocks? So go ahead and pause and write down your answers. All right. So next, we're going to go to the next page, and you can talk about that with someone at home to answer this reflection question with someone at home or with your teacher during your small groups. So we're going to move on to the next page, 72. Write it up here. Okay, read the problem. Then you will add up to subtract two-digit numbers. We are using number lines again, and we are doing a counting up strategy here. There are 54 children at camp. Of these, 27 are girls. How many boys are at the camp? So model it. You could add the tens first, which they did right here. So 54 minus 27, you're taking the total. This is why they're doing it. It's another part whole. So they have the 54. They have 27 girls, and you're looking for how many boys. The other part. So you can add the tens first. So you can start with the 27 and go up by tens until you get to 47. And then you'll have to do the ones. So you can start with the tens. 27 plus 20 equals 47. Then you go up to the next number that ends in a 5 or a 0. You have 50. So 47 to 50, if we know our tens facts, 7 plus 3 equals 10. So we go up to the next 1050. Then it takes 4 more to get up to 54. So you remember then we have to total all this. 54 is not the answer. We have 54. So 47 plus 3 equals 50. 50 plus 4 equals 54. So 20 plus 3 plus 4 equals what? 20 plus 3 plus 4, it's 27. There's an even number of boys and girls. Yeah. So model it. You can add up to the next 10. So you can add the tens first or go to the next number that ends in a 0. Going up to the next 10 in this case. Find 54 minus 27 once again. So here you were starting with 27. You were up there plus some number equals 54. So here you are going to go to the next number that ends in a 0, the next 10, which is 30. So you're going to add 3 right here. That's where that is. Then you're going to add the tens. So you're going to count up by tens because you're used to counting up 10, 20, 30, 40. So you can go up to 40, 50. Can you go up to 60? No, it's more than 54. So you can only go up to 50. So it takes 2 tens, 30 to 40 to 50, 2 tens, for 20, and then you're going to add the 4 to 54. So 3 plus 20 plus 4 equals, once again, ding, 27. So either way, you are getting 27. Yeah. So let's move on to the next part of this, which is page 73. Moving right along. There are a lot of pages, but there aren't many questions on each page. So understanding adding up. So look at the first model it. Let me go back to put the page beside it so you can kind of see it there. So what number do you start with? You start with, on this number line, right? You are starting with 27. Okay, so 27 right here. What number do you stop at? Remember, we stopped at 54. That was the total. We had 27. We stopped at 54 because that's the whole. And we're trying to find out the other part. But look at the second model it. Why do you add 3 first? So down here, we added 3 first. So you can pause the video and think about, why did you add 3 first? They tell you on there. Okay, and we're back. So why did you add 3 first? Because you were going up to the next 10. We added 3 first to go to the next 10. Right. So you can pause if you need to write that or fix yours. You may have written something similar. So what is 54 minus 27? Well, we know from many times 54 minus 27 is our other part. And what is our other part? 27. 54 minus 27 equals 27, because we don't just want to put 27 because these are words. We are writing out what we are doing. Okay, so we're still going to put a period because this is a number sentence, so it's like a sentence. We don't have to write it all out in words, the equation all out in words. How did you get your answer? Well, we've done it several ways, but basically we took, not just took, I found the other part by, and one way you did it was by adding up right here. So you're adding up actually both ways. We didn't subtract back on this one. So you're actually adding up by adding up or counting up on a number line. Boom, right there. So I found the other part by adding on a number line. So number 5, talk about it. How are the two models on the previous page alike? How are they different? So you're going to pause and look at your strategies over here and think, how are they alike? Do they start with the same number? Do they end with the same number? What about the part in between? How is that done? So I want you to pause the video, think about that, and write it down. Okay, we're back. So, do we start with the same number? Yes, they both start with 27. So both models start with 27. Do they both end in the same place? Yes, 54, 54. They both end with 54. Then what about the part in the middle? Is it the same? So the middle parts both total 27. How are they different? Well, we use different numbers to count up. And how are they different? This one added the tens first, and this one added up to the next 10. So you could say the first model added tens first. The second one added up to the next 10. Now you may have worded it differently, maybe not as wordy as I have. Next 10. Maybe I should write for them. So just as long as you get some of these similarities and differences. The main concept here to summarize is that in both, you were starting at the same number and counting up to the whole. You were starting with the part 27 that you were given and counting up to the whole, and you were trying to find out the other part by counting up on a number line. So it says subtract 16 from 30 by adding up. Show your work. So you're going to do this one on your own. You're going to use a number line either way you want. And this is a good one to do on your own and then save and show your teacher during your math group or share it with a parent. Okay, so pause the video and go ahead and solve that one. Okay, we're back. So now we are to tens blocks. So this is the review part on tens blocks, okay? Got a little faded here with my ink. But as we did the first day, we are going to solve word problems using some regrouping and some do not. So here we go. Read the problem. Then you will subtract in different ways. Ming had 42 toy animals. She gave 15 toy animals to her friends. How many toy animals does Ming have left? So what kind of problem is this? Well, this is a takeaway problem, right? So she has a certain amount and she gave a certain amount away. So as usual, I like to make this part whole box to visualize what's going on. So Ming has her 42 animals. She gave away 15. We're looking for the other part. So this also sets up that fact family that we've learned about and how they all relate as families do together. So model it. You can regroup a 10 first and then subtract. So in regrouping, they are talking about, taking the tens block apart and turning it into ones. So you could make 10 ones with let me go back to the equation. Is 42 minus 15. So 42 minus 15 equals the unknown. Make 10 ones with 1 10 and 42. So basically you're taking this 10 and you are turning it into 10 ones right there. Okay, then step 2 would be to subtract. So this is this. So we have our 3 10s. We just moved it down here. 3 10s are 12 ones, but now we have to subtract the 15. So we're going to take away a 10, take away the 5 ones, and you are left with the 2 10s, and you are left with the 7 ones. And see how they put them in groups of 5 like we've talked about? All right, model it. You can subtract tens first. This is another way. 42 minus 15, once again, step 1, 15 equals 110 and 5 ones. That's what we're subtracting. So take away one of the tens first. Instead of starting with the ones, take the 10 away first. So you're going to take it away here. And that leaves you with the 3 tens and the 2 ones. So then step 2, you still have to take away the ones, and you still need 1. So over there, you're going to make a 10. You make 10 ones with 1 10. So you have to take one of these 10s and turn it into, lots of arrows here, turn it into 10 ones. And then take away the 5 ones for the 15 to get your answer. So there are more steps going on here, kind of. It's a little out of order, but it just, to me, that's a little more confusing, but you may like it better. Now, I will say, when you start doing old school, this is the reverse. This is what you're going to be doing when you do old school, which is primarily what you're going to use for the rest of your life. So this is more partial sums, but this is a good way to start, especially if it gets confusing about, doing ones and regrouping. Sometimes it's easier just to get the 10 out of the way. It's up to you. All right, so we're going to turn to the next page, to page 75 that goes with it. So why, it says, understanding ways to subtract. Look at the first model. Why do you make 10 ones with 110 and 42? Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to turn the 10 into 10 ones? Well, because you need 5 ones to take 15 away, to take the 5 away, and you don't have enough, do you? So you need 5 ones, but 42 only has 2. You may write that a different way. So you need 5 ones, but 42 only has 2. That's why you need to get 10 ones. So how many 10s and 1s are left after you subtract in step 2? So looking over at step 2 here, let's put it on top. Looking at step 2 here, says how many 10s and 1s are left after you subtract the step. In the step. So it's talking about the answer here, and you have 2 10s and 7 1s. How many 10s and 1s are left after you subtract 5 1s? Oh wait, excuse me. My bad. I blanked out back there. All right, let's go back to number 9. How many 10s and 1s are left after you subtract 1 10? I was just jumping to the end, wasn't I? Ready to just move on. All right, so how many are left after you subtract 1 10 away from there? So you're subtracting the 1 10. You would have 2 10s, once again, and you would have, I'm sorry, jump down here. Okay. So you would have, you take 1 10 away, you would have not 2 10s, you would have 3 10s, 3 10s, and 2 1s. Wow. All right, so how many 10s and 1s are left after you subtract the 5 1s? So that's when you're down here and you're going to subtract the 5 1s. So now you have 2 10s and you have 7 1s. So number 11, how many toy animals does Ming have left? Well, she has 27. Favorite number of the day, 27. Okay, so for number 12, talk about it. How is step 1 in the first model it different from step 1 in the second model it? Does it matter what you do first? So step 1, right here, make 10 ones with 1 10 and 42. So you're turning this 10 into 10 ones. And step 1 here, 15 equals 1 10 and 5 1, so you're going to take away 1 10. So, how is it different? And does it matter what you do first? You can pause the video and go ahead and write down your answer. Okay, we're back. So, does it matter? All right, so that's eventually what we're trying to get at. But how are they different? Well, in step 1, in the first model start there. In the first model, you do what? The first model, you make 10 ones from 1 10. In the second model, comma, you take away a whole 10. Say a whole 10 because otherwise you're breaking apart. A whole 10. So does it matter what you do first? Do you end up with the same answer? Yes. It does not matter which you do first. You still get the same answer. So you may have written it differently. Here's another way. So if you want to pause and reread this and write it down, go ahead and do so. But please make sure you do write down, because being able to explain it shows that you actually understand it. You're not just copying things. Okay, so you're going to try another problem here. Subtract 63 from 82 by taking away 10s and 1s. It doesn't say what you have to do first. You're going to show your work. So that's another great problem. There's 3 there now. Great problem to do and share with your teacher or share with someone at home. Okay, we're moving on. We only have a couple pages more to go. Yay! All right, so here we go. We are on page 76 right here. Study the model below. This is guided practice. So we're kind of reviewing some here. All right, study the model below, then solve problems 14 through 16. So 2 problems. Just a lot of stuff going on, that's all. All right, so Joe has 52 cards. He puts 28 cards in one pile and the rest in a second pile. How many cards are in the second pile? Find 52 minus 28. So you can show your work on an open number line. So they showed it here. So which strategy did they use first? Did they go to the next 10 or did they add on 10s? They went to the next 10 right here. They went from 28 to 30. And that took 2 plus 20. Then they added on 10s. And then they had to go up to the number they were looking for 52, the whole there. All right, so down here, the answer is 24 because you had to total these. So 2 plus 20 plus 2 equals 24. So down here, number 14, at the farm, there are 25 fruit trees. Of these, 18 are apple trees. The rest are pear trees. How many pear trees are there? Find 25 minus 18. Now, when you're counting up on a number line, your equation to reflect it would be 25. No, excuse me, not 25. We're starting with 18. Would be 18 plus, we don't know what, equals 25. Because if you add up, what number do you start with? You would start with that part because it is once again a part whole. It is a takeaway. So you have the total of 25 fruit trees, 18 are apple, and you're looking for the rest that are pear. So I want you to stop right there and work on this problem, see how you want to solve it, and then start the video again. Okay, so we are back. We are going to show different ways to do it. So on our first number line, we're going to start with 18. Remember, we have to start with 18 right here. So first, we are going to go to the next number that ends in a 5 or a 0, or in this case, the next 10. We've been doing this whole time. So our next 10 after 18 is what? It is 20. Yes. So we're going to go to 20. How many does it take to get to 20? It takes 2. Takes 2, baby. All right, so it takes 2. We're at 20. We have to get up to what? 25. So from 20 to 25, it is plus 5. Plus 5. So that 25 is not our answer, though. Our answer is there. So 2 plus 5 equals 7. 7 is our answer. That's the box. That's the number that goes in the box. Now, if you did it another way, if you added on 10s first, I'm going to show that. We have 18. 18 plus 10. Can you do it? No. And why not? Because you would go to 28. So you can't do that way. You can only do that this way this time. Okay, you might have added different numbers to get there. You may have done it mental math in your head and gone, okay, I know it's 2 plus 5 is 7, and added up 7. You could have done that. You could have done them by ones, but you cannot add on a 10 first because it would be too much. So our answer, as we already found, is 7. There you go. Okay, last page coming up. Here we go, 2 more problems. It's page 77. Whoop. All right, there are 71 students on 2 buses. One bus has 38 students. How many are on the other bus? Find 71 minus 38. Now, the 2 buses can kind of throw you, but basically what they're saying is we have one bus. Let's pretend these are the 2 different buses. We have one bus that has 38 students. We don't know how many are on the other bus, but we know that the total of the 2 buses, they're not parts of one bus, so that's why I'm using this bracket up here, are 71. So the total of both number of kids are 71. It's 71 other. Okay, so show your work. So you are going to use a number line and figure out what you want to do. All right, so pause the video and go ahead and do that. Okay, and we're back. So I'm going to show both number lines. Now over here with our little dinosaur, it says, what number can you subtract if you subtract the tens first? So you could do a number line, you know, that goes backwards. Okay, or you could even, we're going to stick with that for right now. So let's count up first. We're going to start with 38. Okay. I like to go to the next number that ends in a 10 or a 0 first. So the next number would be what? 40. So we're going to start with 38, go up to 40. I'm going to go pretty quickly here. 38 to 40 would be 39, 40. So plus 2. Then from 40, we're trying to get to 71. Can we add 10? Yes, we would be at 50. Can we add, and I'm going to go ahead and show that just 50. And we add 10 more. Yes, because we have to get up to 70. Plus 10. We add 10 more. Yes, we can. Going up to 70. Plus 10. Right there. And then plus 1 to get to 71. All right, but 71 is not our answer. Our answer is all of this up here, right? So we have, I like to do the tens first. 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. I'm going to write it over here. 30 plus 2 plus 1 equals 33. Boom, 33. Now, when they're talking about subtracting, if you start at 71, we're going to take away the 38. Okay, they're about the same number, but because old school subtraction, you would actually be taking away the 38. I'm going to do it that way rather than count back to 38. So we start at 71. I'm going to go back to the next number that ends in a 5 or a 0. So I'm going to go back 1, and we end up at 70. So we're at 70, we're trying to get to 38. Can we go back 10? Yes. So we go back 10, and we end up at 60. We can go back 10 again. We end up at 50. We're going to 38. We can go back 10 again. We end up at 40. Can we go back 10 again? No, because we would end up at 30. So counting back from 40 to 38. If you know your tens facts, you know it would take 2 to get up from 38 to 40. So it would take 2 to go back from 40 to 38. So we're at 38 here. Once again, this is the answer up here, not the 71, not the 38. So we're going to add these up. I'll just do it straight in order this time. 2 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 1 equals, I have 10 plus 10 plus 10. I kind of like to, 30 plus, then you do the 2 and the 1. 2 equals, not 2, 3. 2 plus 1 equals 3 equals 33. Boom. So your answer in both cases is 33. Okay, here's our last problem. Pedro does 27 jumping jacks. Ray does 8 fewer or 8 less than Pedro. How many jumping jacks does Ray do? Find 27 minus 8. So how many do you take away from 27 to make a 10? You could be doing that. All right, so I want you to pause the video and go and try to figure that one out on your own, any strategy you want. Okay, and now we are back. So he does 8 fewer. So I'm going to show you the picture. This is more like a bar. So like this would be the amount that Pedro did. So Pedro does 27, and Ray does 8 fewer. So he does most of what Pedro did, but Pedro actually does 8 more. Ray does 8 fewer, so 8 less than Pedro, which means Pedro did 8 more than Ray. So Ray's amount is equal to, Pedro's amount rather, is equal to 27. Well, Pedro's is 27. Ray's amount, yes, it was Ray's amount. Ray's amount is Pedro's amount minus the difference between the two. Right there. And that's Ray's. See, lots of words, lots of pages. All right, so here we go. So you're going to figure that out on your own, which you've already done at this point. So 27 minus 8. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do a number line. I'm going to do a number line, and I'm going to start with the 8. I'm going to go to the next number that ends in a 5 or a 0. And I'm going to get 2. And then I'm going to add on. And 8 plus 2. Sorry, a little distracted there from the pup. Okay, equals 10. We're going up to 27. I'm going to add another 10 to get to 20. And then add up 7 to get to 27. 2 plus 10 plus 7 equals 19. All right, so our answer is B. We can do another way too. I'm going to, right over here on the side, let's do tens blocks. We had 27, 1, 2, 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. We're taking away 8. We don't have enough ones, so we're going to take one of the tens. We're going to turn it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little off. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite lined up. So now we have enough to take away 8. We're going to take away 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have 9 left. And 1 10. So 19. Now Mia chose D as the answer. D is 35. This answer is wrong. How did Mia get her answer? So I want you to pause the video for a second and think about, how did Mia get her answer? Look at those numbers. 35. Is 35 more or less than 27? Okay, guys, so if you've looked at it, 35 is more than 27, right? How much more? Well, if you think about it, you look down here on a number line. What if instead of subtracting, she added? So if we start with 27, go up to the next 10, that would be 2. All right, we're trying to add on 8. So how many more would it take? So we're at 30 now. Take, what am I doing? Oh, we're starting at 27. It takes 3, sorry. Takes 3 to get up to 30. Something's wrong. So you're up to 30. So you need how many more to get to 35? 5. That is 8. It does equal 35. 3 plus 5. 8 added on to 27 is 35. So what did she do? She added. So Mia added 27 plus 8 instead of subtracting. Let's put 27 minus 8 in parentheses. So that's it. So guys, that was a long lesson. Some self-study wordy McWordy because it's a lot of words, but it does have some great visuals for you to see. Remember, just stop anytime and you can ask questions or talk about it with your teacher later today. And thanks for joining me and have a great day.